be president. And this man climbed his way through the petty, self-absorbed world of poets to finally achieve that dream. And Bob Stanley became president. He became president of the Sacramento Poetry Center, and then went further, took that dream to a whole other level, to where he is now our Sacramento Poet Laureate, which is very exciting. And in a minute, he will show you exactly why.
Well, that's like royalty, right?
It is exactly like royalty. We should put this down there, so when he walks up, it'll be great. His official bio says that he has written poetry and volunteered in poetry organizations for over 3 decades. Again, he was the president, which is a very good high honor. In 2009, he edited Sometimes in the Open, an anthology of poems by 65 poet laureates from all over northern, from around the state, California. He has won numerous awards. Well, congratulations. Including the California Focus on Writers Prize. He teaches English at CSUS and Sacramento City College. Rattlesnake Press, which we all love and adore, released his first chapbook, Walt Whitman Orders a Cheeseburger. He is the man who brings poetry right to the public, as he should, Bob Stanley.
Thank you so much, Todd. That's great. Oh, that's it. Time's up, huh? I have to do announcements in Sacramento, and it's the same thing. It's like, okay, and 10 minutes from now, if you go down the street, there's something else going on. It's kind of an endless thing. It's great to be here in Grass Valley, in the land of Stegner, Snyder, and Gaynor. And you guys have a great community up here. It sounds like everybody's reading within the next couple of weeks. That's really great. I'll tell you about a couple of things we have down in the valley, but I think you got enough going on here, so I'll read some poems. Only a poem will do when you're 17 and the girl with kaleidoscope eyes just walked out with the surfer dude. Only a poem will do when there's 1,000 people at the rally on the Capitol steps and they're calling you to the stage, but you left your guitar at the Union Hall next to Joan Baez's purse. Only a poem will do when you walk into the library and there's Coleridge, pipe in hand, and he smiles at you as you enter. He's happy you're not the man from Porlock, and he leans forward as you read him your latest rhythmic invention. Only a poem will do when the last hurrah sounds, the 21-gun salute, silence across the green. Only a poem will do as you drive the 69 Cutlass deep into the California night, the long road north, you're 21, forever young, and it's just you and the words and the dark distance between everything. When resemblances grow stronger than the light on the faces, when everywhere you look dances a shadow, rises in your voice a song to remember, all birds cardinal red, you're so alive it scares you, only a poem will do. And when you hear the Albinoni Adagio for the first time on the radio, as you walk into the kitchen the night your son was born, as a steady rain comes down outside, you're all alone. Mother and child still in the hospital, and your world has just revealed the meaning of things in a new way. Only a poem will do when a friend makes you aware, really aware that what you're doing has an impact on people, even if you're just having coffee, talking about Yeats, that smiling public man, and talking about how a classroom works and doesn't work, or poetry, which has the same inherent challenges. And when it's time to say something important to someone important in the company of friends who love words. If you're lucky in this life, every time is the time, and every thought is the kind of thought when and where and why only a poem will do. I wrote that for John Allen Cann. Some of you may know him. He's a Sacramento poet for his 60th birthday. And this is a poem I wrote for Kathy Keith. And first time I had a chance to read it, I call it Bedtime Story. because there are snakes, and because snakes live quietly for long periods of time on mountainsides, and, it is said, love to bask in the sun. And because there are people, and because they gather in a valley of warm, book-scented light in a circle and read to each other the way people in cabins used to read to each other in the kind of world most of us had never known. And because I imagine there are cats that pad softly around the house, proud, but still needing a little attention, though they might not admit it, they move their head a certain way, and you know. And because there are so many ways to share words, to share ways, ways we live, ways we love, ways we worry and fight for or against what we love or don't. And because Medusa came and camped in the backyard of the village and kept singing until all the villagers came to sing along and there was song. The animals are out tonight. And through clouds they keep winking as if all those stories about them, the stories in the songs she has them sing, made them shine brighter. And it's true. They really do. For cats keep. Kathy was my first publisher. Some of these are new. Most of these first poems are kind of new. This one's called Sour Cream. I love writing about food. Sometimes I'm in the classroom and I start talking about food, and the students look at me like I'm crazy. It's supposed to be an English class. I was dreaming about beans and rice. How beans, after soaking for a day, can simmer from 9 to 6 with the smoked bones. And I said, this sounds like comfort food. And you told me from somewhere in the dream, food is comfort food. That was when I remembered sour cream, and I had to get up and write about it. That cold white emulsion that turns the mouth bright with color, transforming a baked potato into merrymaking and confetti. Add sour cream to the taco, the stroganoff, the borscht, and you break barriers. Make things sweet. Okay, let's see. This is oh God, which read? This is I've been wanting to write a baseball poem, and this one kind of hit me the other day, so this is kind of a rough draft. I'm calling it translation. One October afternoon, standing on the knoll above the tetherball poles, 5 of us huddled together, eager to dispel the 5th grade rumor that the World Series was over and the Giants had lost. Expecting one more miracle, obscured in transistor static, we heard it was true. Final score, 1-0. That next April, Grandpa Joe sent me a poem from Paris. Some American who missed the crack of the bat, the dust, the tension, and the casual inattention that turns to a roar in a moment without warning. Seasons would go by, and win or lose, we'd stand with the black and orange. 6 years in a row, 2nd place. That last season, when cancer was coming at him like a hard slider low and inside, he called me, hoping I'd take him to the game as he had taken me 20 years before. The night game, Mays won off Warren Spahn in 16, 1-0. But by then, I was asleep in his arms. This time, early 80s, it was Dwight, Gooden, and the Mets. I couldn't make it, but he took the bus out there by himself. And again, they were tied at the end of 9. Maybe in extra innings, we're always alone. Can that many years go by and still the 1 and the 0 still be on the scoreboard? Mm-hmm. Some binary reckoning of who we are or were? The peaks and valleys of a single game are easily described in a box score. But extra innings, well, that's just poetry. up in this neck of the woods, so I thought it would be a good place to read it. I've been revising it over the years, and it's called Pilgrimage. It was a 4th grade field trip. We spent a week up at Malakoff Diggins. It was like one of the best weeks of my life. It was so fun. It was so fun. Amazing. Smooth pink limbs, thin-skinned manzanita will survive. Leave its dead brush behind. We sense incense cedar up close, but mountain misery. Kit Kit dizzy smells strong like witch hazel if you rub it. Thumb to forefinger clears the head. Passing the stick around the circle in China Garden, we feel in the sunshine those long dead miners under the apple blossoms. It is May on the mountain. These wolves and rabbits play tag, learn how to pray and be preyed upon. Our guide, he says, call me One Eye, tells of a Tibetan pilgrimage. Climbers who saw a halo in the sky, so beautiful it dazzled them to leap into its void of color and light. Faster now, the children run faster around the circle. When we climb the final pitch, thunder rolls, and the 10-year-olds all scream and run as we pass out the tube tents and watch them set up tents in a hailstorm. Cold feet, cold hands at dinner. Washing dishes in hot water, quiet words put on paper. 30 hands, 30 pencils moving under calm gray sky. A way to get back to the circle. Sugar pine, manzanita, preparing for the fire. Malakoff Diggins, almost 20 years ago.
Wait a minute. I thought you said you were 4th grade.
The kids were 4th
Oh,
grade.
the kids were 4th grade.
I was what was I? Can you imagine me as a chaperone? That was trouble. I think I wrote a song, but well, okay. So this real kind of commemorative poems. This is a beer poem. We had it was beer week or beer month, I guess. So they invited some poets out. Jim called, decided we'd get a group. So we were about 7 or 8 of us showed up, and people wrote these amazing beer poems. This was just kind of fooling around, but you know, since we're up here in the wilds of Nevada City. Beer poem. 1. All that work, hops, barley, fermentation, bottling and aging, and yet beer is nothing until it meets the lips, the tongue, the blood. Lord, it needs me. 2. Ordinary beer, not for special occasions. It's almost like haiku. Okay, I'm just reading selections from the beer poem. 3. It took the whole team to do the beer run. Not everybody had cash, but somehow there would be enough. We'd fill the cap with quarters and bills, and someone of age would return soon after, on a hot day in 1971, back when days were hot and beer was cold. Thank you. So those are some new poems. I want to mention Sacramento Poetry Center does all kinds of stuff, kind of like you do up here. Monday night readings every Monday at 7:30, 25th and R. So please come down. It's free. And then this weekend, Saturday from 10 to 6 is our annual workshop. So there's classes and it's free. We've got Tony Mirosevic, Joseph Lees. I don't even know who these people are, but they come and teach really great classes. I'm going to go and be a student again, which is what I really like to be. Teaching is too much stress. I like just writing off into the night. So please come, and if you have any questions, I can give you directions and all this stuff. This was Sometimes in the Open was the book that I edited. And there's actually poets laureate all around counties and cities, Sonoma County, Ukiah. So Ukiah has, for instance, about 4 or 5, Lyndon Knoll, David Smith Ferry, and I think San Luis Obispo has the most. They've had one every year for like 10 years. So there's 65 poets and about 100 poems, and I got to edit it. We got a grant back when there were grants, when there was a government. So this was really fun for me to do, just a great honor, and I met all kinds of cool people. And then I ended up becoming a poet laureate and realizing what a fool was I. So I'm going to read a couple of the poems from here. This is Ed Bearden from Modesto. It's called Riding the Tractor. The front tire of the tractor hits a rut, and the steering wheel jerks from my hands as I rise in my seat, standing, knees absorbing the shock of the bouncing tractor, and for a moment I see my father standing as he guides his tractor between rows of trees, the blades of the disc cutting the soil, dust rising behind. He loves the feel of the soil passing through his hands and the smell of the dust in the air that follows the tractor. He loves looking back and seeing long, straight furrows identically spaced. More than the tractor, the soil is his chosen tool. The proper nutrients, right amount of moisture, and my father's hands, and the soil becomes animate and verbal. A chatty land, bringing forth nectarines and peaches, a choir of fruits and nuts. The soil, a farmer's sermon, preaching salvation for a farmer's soul. This is Mike Tuggle. I don't know if he's still poet laureate of Sonoma County. Sometimes a poem will stalk me. I sense it as a man in the wilderness alone at night by a small campfire senses the lion watching him from the dark woods, watching him closer and closer. My job is to sit here and listen as the creature approaches, to be absolutely calm and listen until I can feel its hot breath on the back of my neck. And then this one, one of the younger poets, and I don't think I've met him, but anyway, this is Damian Stednitz from Sunland to Hunga, which is most of the poets laureate are in Northern California. There's a handful down south. Damian Stednitz. The name of this poem is Text Used to Be a Noun. Charles Dickens used to release his novels in serialized chapbooks, little bundles of text that came out monthly. People would line up waiting for the next issue, an emotional event for many men and women reading as they walked home. No internet to carry ahead the ending and spoil it before they got to the last page. Truman Capote and Dylan Thomas used to read to sold-out auditoriums, people packed in for poetry and prose before the podium. Thomas and Capote were rock stars before rock stars, pouring over their text, their words flowing down the aisles over the rows of rapt fans who listened in the ringtone-free vacuum of silence that only a pre-1996 concert hall could create. I've had 40 free text messages a month for the last year. I sent my first text message today. It took me an hour. I was taught on home row keys, not thumb typing. My 15-year-old sister Sarah can type with her thumbs as fast as she can talk. I watched her simultaneously eat a pizza and text a friend 2 weeks ago when she came to visit. My first text message ever was to Sarah. I'm texting her Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. 1 paragraph a day. I figure since she stops everything to read every text messages, it may as well be something worth reading. LOL. We'll be finished in July of 2011. I like to think Charles would be amused. A little electronic serialized chapbook. My sister is currently not amused, but maybe she'll see the message in the text. So I brought a few of these, and if you want to buy these, they're 15, and the money goes to the Sacramento Poetry Center, because that's whence it came. I'm just using all of whence and was I. So this is my little chapbook, Rattlesnake Press. I'll read a couple from here, and then we'll move on. This is called Sweet Fire. When the Mongolian cellist astounded Charlie Parker in '55, it was shot glasses of rice liquor all around. The singer began singing in two voices at once, and lamb arrived at the table. Its roasted ribs splayed like a Bach fugue, going both directions at the same time. Genghis Khan was there, and the first emperor of the Qin. Not Qing, he laughed loudly, food in his mouth, but chin, like on your face. Then, smile when you say that. He looked nervously around the joint with all its cats, wishing he was safely in his tomb with 8,000 men. All the music rolled into one that night. Lionel Hampton rang them bronze bells. And Chairman Mao, his musical career having been cut short by the Cultural Revolution, aired it out on a flugelhorn solo. If you've never heard the Dalai Lama scat over rhythm changes, you've really missed something. After midnight, when eunuchs tore down the sound system, reporters and agents waited by the Great Wall, smoking Camels, expecting some good to come of it. But all we had was memories of drum beats, perforations on maps, and the sweet fire that sometimes blows from one man's horn. Got two more. Let's see. This one's called The Extra Credit Problems. This was... God, I went back to school when I was 48. What a mistake. No, it was really fun. It was really fun. And studied poetry, and then I also learned how to... I thought I was learning how to teach. And then I started teaching, and so 5 years later I'm still learning how to teach. The extra credit problems. You find yourself on the moon with no atmosphere. Before you suffocate, you have to calculate, given specific gravity G and altitude A, what was your great-grandfather really like? Did he really sell vegetables on the streets from a cart? How did he manage to love your great-grandmother, tell his sons he loved them? Did he cheat at cards? Sometimes things happen inside a family the way a blender disrupts TV reception when it runs on the highest setting. Pulse, or maybe frap. Using both the wave and particle theory approach, describe how these sympathetic variations move through us as we move through them. How much time does your family spend in front of reality, the television? Contrast, compare. Ask yourself the questions that aren't on the test. Do you think they will make the rest of your life understandable? Are we graded on a curve? What is the derivation of the word transcript? In your dream, you hear the names of the years, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. And one day, will you wake up and ask yourself, what were the extra credit problems? Could it have mattered? Is this the last semester? So this is actually not my poem. This is a. There weren't too many recordings of Walt Whitman, but this was Walt Whitman actually in Southern California in 1856. And there was kind of a time warp. So it was 1956, but it was 1856. Okay, so the first drive-through burger places had just happened. So
It's Nevada County. That makes perfect sense to all these people.
good. You know, when with poets, push the limits. So this is Walt Whitman orders a cheeseburger. Direct transcript. Give me the lettuce, crisp and unfurled. Give me tomato, red from the vine, sliced into sun circles, its seeds spilling out from the mouth pockets that lay sleeping within its sensual orb. Give me onion, many-layered, purple and translucent. Or white, bitter and pungent. It is all goodness to me, all God's onions waiting to be sliced. And the bun, brown and puffed. The bun, toasted lightly, warm to the touch, light scent of yeast rising, fresh from the hand of the baker in his fragrant boulangerie. All these together, and yet not complete without the counterpoint, the crunchy slab of cucumber pickled to perfection, dill of my forefathers, cold, kosher, salty, and puckering. Give me the many-faceted oval of beef grind. The burger, the patty, the jewel. It has traveled 1,000 miles to reach me, yes, as bull on hoof, from Wyoming to sunny Arizona, and to the slaughterlands of Chicago it has traveled. And yet, it is clean, for many hands have washed, many careful steps taken that I might partake of this concoction. Muscle and fat ground into 1,000 bits, morsels of flavor so intense the world cries out for more. In fair Beijing they stand in line, in star-struck Paris, and in Moscow cold and dry. And cook it in the proper oils so that the flavor might come forth and sing within the mouths of a generation of hungry youths, and salt it and add pepper with its precious bite that once begat great wars. The hamburger, no longer of Hamburg, noble city of its birth, but now plebeian burger of the world. Bring it forth, place it in its nest. But no. Before that staple removeth from the grill, before you extract it from the heat of oil or coals and cool it amid its panoply of vegetal flowers and fruits, upon the life bread while it still sizzles, roaring with the life it once knew, while it speaks to me even before the moment when it gives its strength to me, yes, while the grease pops and the chefs jump back with eyes wide, slice one thin square of cheddar, sharp, from the highlands of fair Albion. Ah, England of cheesemakers, small-eyed and witty. And slide it across the round top of this noble meat plateau. Square the caloric circle with the orange curd of the motherland. And wait for a moment until that precious golden droops. And when all is cooked and soft and placed upon its well-made bed, there will be mayonnaise, sweet, sweet lubricant from the wide-mouthed jar. I hear the sound of families as they chirp like baby birds in line for the fresh regurgitation of the mum. Mustard or ketchup? Rich, seedy, stone-ground German brown? Simple yellows from the gentle corporate giants of our American soil? The refinements of Dijon? Or the comforting glow of the domesticated tomato? The condiment to end all condiments, having come far from the lands of Orient. Give me ketchup. Thank you.
Big prize. Yeah. You've inspired us all. Everyone's jotting down poems about hot dogs now. Cheeseburgers. Next up, a woman who has her own business cards featuring naked women on them. That's good. See, now you have a rush on your business cards. I like that. Heather Donahue. First, we'll do the official one. Her first career was as an actress, most notably in the Blair Witch Project. And oh yes, see, did you get a cut of that?
She's over.
If so, then I can rush and tell people to go out and get it, and they'll buy it, and then we can help her along. The Blair Witch Project and the Steven Spielberg-produced miniseries Taken. Her first encounter with Nevada City came on a road trip, as all the best of us ended up here, same way. Escaped from LA. Her first Blackstone Benedict at South Pine Cafe. She knew she was going to live here. Eventually, she found herself at the end of a red dirt road with 27 chickens, a puppy, and more vegetable seedlings than she could count. Her stories are widely published in such places as Bust Magazine and the Orange Coast Review. See, am I the only one who thought that was dirty? I mean, that sounded dirty. It sounded good. I like that. I'll never escape my 15-year-old joy and amazement at Bust Magazine, Carrie, that's funny. She was a member of the Literature Alive Council and has participated in the Squaw Valley community of writers. She's currently at work on a book of her year of living rurally, Grow Girl. So that's her official bio, and the only thing I have to say is here's what I know and what I love about Heather, is that 1, she's absolutely great at karaoke. 2, she loves strong drinks. 3, as my BFF Julie says, that she's apparently as rowdy as I am at places. And that 4, and this is what got me, she demanded, because she's a very high-profile person, a very high fee to be here tonight. And so while we were negotiating back and forth, it was 1 beer from New Orleans, which I duly brought her and handed to her this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, Heather Donahue.
Well, in celebration of National Poetry Month, I'll be reading prose. It's a very nice bit of counter-programming on Bill Gaynor's part. You can thank him for that.
Well, you fit in with the renegades.
Thank you, yeah. I actually thought about reading poetry tonight, but I'm not really a poet, which explains my presence here. And I was just going to do some older stories, but I felt that they weren't really where I'm at right now, so I decided I would just take the leap and read from my new book, which is almost finished. This book begins when I realized I was a washed-up has-been in LA and needed to begin again. And that is, indeed, where Grow Girl begins. This is the epilogue called The Great Purge. Tonight it burns, all of it, or at least 2/3. She's in the desert. She's here to shed a skin whole, to shed a story like a snake. Her scalp is itchy and her sagging sweatpants sing a stained refrain from the day's munch of miles. Driving with Lucy, the 10-year-old 4-wheel drive she bought new from signing autographs. Driving, full of plastic bags full of her last 10 years. She stopped for wood, pine. She relies on trees for all manner of things less normal than burning, though she still shaves her armpits. She hadn't eaten anything for 21 days. She has nothing left to lose, not even 10 pounds. Swimming in her own hyper-real amniotic gloriole, she lifts the grill in the fire pit in this empty campground almost in Joshua Tree National Park, the national park closest to Los Angeles. The grill sings like a locker door, rusty bones, a maw. She stacks the logs, nay pine, in a perfect Girl Scoutian teepee, stuffs the empty belly with the first load of letters, photos, lingerie, lint, until it's full of shit, like a constipated belly, or her. White buds are swelling on the yuccas. They are all so close to blooming. She sits in a $10 captain's chair from Target with her feet up, smoking the remains of a joint from a previous relationship, drinking the sole beer she's brought. It's enough to get her buzzed after the fasting. It takes a while to get the blaze glowing, but when it does, she is treated to chartreuse, fuchsia, aquamarine. Bright with the toxic rainbow of her incinerating trash, she's a speck. No, a spark. Scarlet, lemon, cantaloupe. Photos burn pretty. Ditto lingerie. Her past in embers flutters up like fireflies. The flutters snuff to ash, descend. When she steps away, she sees star nurseries, milky drops that dot the sky. The embers chase her even here, dance around her head. She looks up to the half-full moon and everything and no one and says out loud, "Bring it." Day 1. I turn off the freeway toward the Sierra Nevada mountains. Nugget Town is nestled here. Tucked away in the foothills, a forested nook. Further tucked is Judah's house. I wind my way the 3 miles up his road and hear a vaguely angelic chord as the hill crests and Judah's 10 acres open to the sunset in front of me. Oaks echo in long filigree shadows dappling the first new grass. Pine tops wave, "Welcome, welcome." Judah runs from up the hill from the porch to greet me. He grips the open window as I drive back down, pulling on the door before I get her into park. "So, no more trial period. You're officially a country girl. Congratulations." He lifts me up and spins me around, plunks me back into the driver's seat. "Where's my overalls? I thought I got a free pair of overalls," I say, and he's at Lucy's passenger door. "Beer first," he says, getting in. "Wait, I at least want a piece of straw to put in my mouth. Let's just go get beer. I just drove 9 hours. Why can't you drive?" "You want me to drive Lucy?" He's back out, over, lifting me from the seat again. "What's wrong with Shark Attack?" His silver Corolla. "Lucy's bigger." He takes the keys from my hand. "You're getting a keg?" "Just get in." I do. We turn off Judah's road onto the asphalt. Lucy's tires shriek. Your car has like zero pickup. There's an old blue 4Runner in the rear view. Judah glances up like he expected it to be there. Lucy's engine revs hard before turning over. I pat the dashboard to console her. "Are you high?" I ask, a chronically relevant question in these parts. Hold on. The 4Runner is still behind us. There's no way to lose it on this narrow highway. Judah tries anyway, crosses the double yellow to pass the pink water truck in front of us. "What the fuck?" I yell at him. Hold on. The 4Runner is behind us again. The water truck driver hangs on her horn. Judah pulls up to Mountain Mama Mart. The 4Runner pulls up beside us. Dust. The water truck passes, giving us all the pink acrylic finger. 2 men get out of the Toyota. One, late 30s, big eater, glossy white tracksuit. The ganja leaf t-shirt underneath is probably not supposed to reveal his midriff. This is Little Dick. "So, Jew boy think he in business for himself," says Little Dick, his black scent picked up cheap at Justin Timberlake's garage sale. "What you driving your girlfriend's car for, you little shit? You scared little piece of shit with my money, huh? You forget who the king of Kush in this county?" I'm sure the alliteration is unintentional, but sort of lovely nonetheless. I think this is a good thing for me to focus on right now, otherwise I keep alternating between being scared shitless and feeling like I'm in an SNL sketch about rural gangsters. Little Dick's sidekick doesn't do anything except stand on my side of the car with his hand in his jacket pocket, the one inside, behind the zipper of his plain black XL Columbia fleece. "What the fuck is that?" Little Dick gestures to the back seat. "Looks like a fucking turtle," says Fleece, hand unmoving. "A turtle? What the fuck?" I clarify. "It's not a turtle, it's a tortoise. His name is Buddha. It means universe in the language of the..." "Shut the fuck up!" Other cars pull up into Mountain Mama Mart, and I wonder if I should scream, try to catch Judah's eye for some clue, but Little Dick's head is inside the driver's side window, so it's sort of tight quarters. Hard to send a message without it getting intercepted. "What are you looking at?" Little Dick asks me. "I am looking at the white dust sticking to the hairs of your right nostril." I say nothing. "That's right," Little Dick says. "Leave her out of this." Judah lets go of the steering wheel, kills the engine. A woman picks up her little boy and scurries past Lucy, trying not to look. "Let's go for a walk." Little Dick opens the door for Judah, a gentleman. "You stay here," Little Dick says to me. Judah affirms this with a somber nod. The 3 of them casually stroll. I almost expect them to hold hands. I want to rewrite their dialogue because it's so cliched. It's like I've stumbled into a sandbox where some little boys are playing Godfather and I have no idea how committed they are to their game or what props may be involved. The 3 of them disappear behind Mountain Mama Mart. I press my hand to Buddha's shell. My fingers tingle. The window fogs. 15 very long minutes have passed. It's dark. I get out of the car. Little Dick and Fleece are coming toward me. Judah isn't with them. Fleece's hand is no longer in his pocket. I thought we told you to stay in the car," Little Dick says and laughs. The pot leaves stretched across his belly dance. "You did, That's right." Little Dick and Fleece walk on, letting my knees be joints again. Judah is sitting on a milk crate beside a dumpster with a swollen eye. Oh shit. I kneel beside him. Broken glass shivers and reflects the moon. There are no street lamps here. I'm in the country. He puts his arm around me and steeps a brittle whisper like hot spun glass. I will do whatever it takes to protect my family. The whisper cools and hardens in the space between. Yeah, we're a family. Fuck that guy. Fuck that little dick. I don't say this. I don't say anything. We just hold that clear, hard thread. His eye, purpling, pulsing. His phone rings. He turns away. Hey, man, some shit's hit the fan. No shit. Oh, shit. No way. What the fuck? Fuck that shit. That's bullshit. No way. No way. Don't do it, man. Just breathe. Keep your center, man. Fuck it. That won't solve anything. Hold the space, man. Hold the space. Breathe. Okay. Alright, bye. We drive to Zeus and Zadara's house. Zeus's son, Sarah, is running around the living room brandishing a small saw. He charges at me. I duck. Ra, cut it out, I tell him. Ra! He growls and charges again. Zeus lilts. Okay, Ra, that's enough. I'm squatting in a corner. The small yet very real serrated blade is suspended like a guillotine in Sarah's little hands. I look him in the eye and maybe I whisper, maybe it's a hiss. Do I look like someone you want to mess with? He looks me in the eye, bringing down the saw, holding it to his chest, consider it. Yeah! He shouts, 5-year-old Viking. I tuck into a front roll out of the corner as the blade whistles down. Oh, are you playing with Auntie? Sadara says. I move behind her. No, I'm killing her! He growls. Sadara turns to me. He's not bothering you, is he? Sarah, seeing me distracted, takes this moment to pick up his wooden sword and hit me behind the knees. They buckle, then throb. She cradles Sarah and repeats in his ear. You're not a killer, you're a healer. You're not a killer, you're a healer. You're not a killer, you're a healer. What are you? I'm a killer! Beer? I ask. It's in the fridge. Just let me put it in the bed. Meet you in the hot tub? They turn to go upstairs and the kid sticks his tongue out at me. Much of me wants to give him the finger, but he's only 5. Ed arrives, arm in a sling crafted from old plaid flannel, jammies maybe. His shoulders are stooped and his fist clenched harder as he mutters something with fuck in it. If he were in a comic, he would perpetually have in the thought bubble over his head. The last to arrive are Abe and Pebbles, 2 all-American, extra-pale, dready kids. She makes pretty feather jewelry. He makes sure his eyes are always red. It's how he earned his nickname, always a little stoned. She has fastened an herbal poultice to his face with a length of African mudcloth. Blessings! Abe hugs me, her peacock feather earrings tickling my cheek. Shitty fucking day, Pebble says, and lights the joint he has tucked into the cloth. Zeus is the only guy unscabbed, unscathed. Ed waves his flannel arm at Zeus. Tell me you did not give that fat fuck money. Everyone knows he did. He's the only one who could, the only one consistent enough to have something socked away. It was diplomacy, Zeus says. Ed, it was being a pussy. Judah has stepped into the center of the living room, wielding the talking stick, adorned with obsidian, feathers, boa bones, quartz. He plants it in the living room floor like a flag. It becomes, incontrovertibly, his turn to speak. Ed, just chill. We need to stick together. We're here to make a plan, not to act like assholes. His eyes continue to scan the assembled. We need to do whatever it takes to protect ourselves. I realize today how much I have to lose. Judah looks at me when he says this. My chin rises, puckers. His eyes pass like a church donation plate to every person in the room. His elbows come away from his sides. Whatever it takes. He awaits the offering. He doesn't have the usual triangle of consternation between his brows. He's serene despite the swollen eye. He looks a little like Rocky to me right now, and I'm from Philly, so I find that very attractive. He puts his fist out, and the other guys bump it one at a time. Wonder Twin powers, activate. Whatever it takes, they all echo. Zeus straddles his djembe and beats it for a minute. Judah whoops. Ed and Pebbles drink more beer. Zeus asks Abe and me, isn't Sadara waiting for you guys in the hot tub? Time for the menfolk to do man things. Time for the potwives to go to the hot tub where they belong. I reach around the kombucha and grab another cold Sierra. She's like a Beverly Hills trophy wife with more body hair. All of her her if Betty was a vegan who garnished everything with seaweed and goji berries. She grows food, but she usually has very little to do with the money garden. Rutabaga is cheaply replaced, the girls not so much. Let the lady have her farm fun on less serious crops. Frequently, she is a semi-retired massage therapist. She often does yoga, belly dance, makes her own granola, and takes care of her man's baby from a previous relationship. With a woman who is also not his wife, but could be considered his ex-potwife, whom he also takes care of, and what begins to develop into a sort of mini-empire, or at least a harem. There is no jealousy, there is not even mild annoyance. All of these women get along great because they are all manifestations of the goddess. Where do they come from, you might ask? Or perhaps you're wondering, how can I get one? They are selected from Uncle Harvey's Trim Parade, the annual harvest season pageant where young hopefuls come from as far afield as Hawaii and Costa Rica, grape scissors in hand, to trim the ripe outdoor bud crop and vie for a grower-lover who will finance their self-exploration in exchange for lending crystals, crafts, and quinoa to an otherwise abject grow house. It's not easy to have coziness and industrial agriculture in the same house, but these ladies make it happen. When they tire of their situations and want to go out on their own, maybe have their own scene and not just cook meals and watch his kid, they wind up as sharecroppers for their man. Often these women don't have the credit to rent a house on their own, so their grower boyfriend co-signs. Often he hasn't shared much of the how-to of actually running a room, or she just hasn't been particularly interested. So he provides the startup costs, equipment, expertise, etc., and she will pay him a sizable percentage, which, after overhead, leaves her with very little money and no more ability to roam. The girls keep you on a short leash. The wives become capped twice over. The potwives can't really understand why I will rent my own house and have my own scene. They make fervent arguments for embracing abundance mentality, because I deserve these gifts he wants to give me, that I am being granted this opportunity by the benevolence of the universe. I almost gave in to the narcotic tug. I almost took Judah up on his one-time trial period offer to move in. But I don't know any 40-year-old potwives, and I'm already 34. Where middle-aged potwives end up is, I imagine, similar to the place missing socks go when they disappear from the dryer. Sometimes I think we should send potwives to teach the Hutus and Tutsis, or perhaps more apropos, the Janjaweed militia in Darfur, about abundance mentality and the benevolence of the universe. I would watch that documentary, but for the gore. Abe, Sadara, and I are smoking spliffs and drinking wine in the hot tub on Zeus's deck. The jets are on, and it's hard to hear, and I'm glad, because this is my first day as a country girl, goddammit, and I am clad in a million tiny bubbles, sopping up a billion velicating stars. Do you think they'll get guns, I ask? Vague and loud. No. No way. That'll just bring gun energy, and that's not our scene, Abe says. I don't know. Sadara seems a little thrilled by this, titillated even. That would change things, I say, because it would for me at least. Are you still going to get your own place? Did you sign the lease yet? Sadara asks. It's weird this happened today, right? Your first day? Abe is calculating cosmic forces. Like a warning or something. Would you still do Kush? Sadara asks. Kush is what the boys grow. It's the most consistently valuable strain, and it's nearly impossible to find solid OG Kush seeds, at least around here. So to fill your garden, you need clones, the supply of which Little Dick has attempted to control until now, in exchange for taking everyone's manicured medicine at rock-bottom prices. Though the prices Little Dick pays are still higher than what other strains would fetch, the gents are attempting to liberate themselves from his tyranny. Ergo the multiple injuries. Ergo the djembe-fueled kibitz in the living room. Little Dick doesn't really know me, I say. Yeah, he probably wouldn't think you're doing your own thing. Plus, you're not going to do hydro, so he wouldn't be interested in what you'd grow anyway. Sadara offers. Nads. Cute bangs, by the way. Yeah, super cute, Abe echoes. Thanks. They help with my 5-head. I demonstrate how my forehead accommodates 5 fingers with room to spare. And, you know, new life, new hair. It's nice to actually see something different in the mirror, like, see that? I'm changing. I can't help feeling like a new, delusionally idealistic teacher trying really hard to connect with the kids. Perhaps that's because I'm at least 7 years older than anyone else in this hot tub. Right, that's why. Right on. Abe passes the spliff. Pebbles thinks they should infect Dick's room with spider mites. Ooh, that's cold, I say. I've seen what spider mites can do. They are smaller than a pinhead and suck the life out of a plant. Then they weave webs like a freeway system so they can suck some more. They're harder to get rid of than a fear of commitment. That is not the way to fix this. Sadara twists her light red hair into a bun. We need to come from a place of love. He's scared. We can't validate his place of fear. We just have to transform it with our prayers. And yeah, I wasn't having it when he was getting all up in my face over here. But still, it's important that we hold space for him and let him know that he's a member of our community. You think that'll work? I asked. I think it'll work better than putting spider mites in his room. He's not an idiot. He has flora mites, Sadara says. I'm adopting a dog, I say. I found him online. We're going Thursday to pick him up. He frolics in the snow and everything. You should see the pictures. I'm a dog. Me too. I love dogs. Yeah, dogs are awesome. They protect you. Shit. Yeah. The menfolk arrive. You ladies been keeping it warm for me, Judah says, taking off his pants. He saves his shirt for last because he has a personal trainer because of his back. He pauses like a model at the end of the runway before he gets in. We get it, man. You like your cop, just get in the fucking hot tub already, Ed says. Zeus angles himself into a huddled demi-squad and doesn't pause before submerging. It's cold, he says, and demonstrates an exaggerated shiver. Ed and Pebbles do shots of tequila. Pebbles still has the poultice fastened to his face. Judah stretches his arms out along the rim of the tub, encompassing both me and Sadara. God, this is great, Judah says. Get in here, Ed. I ain't getting naked with your hippie ass. Ed and Pebbles drink more tequila. Sadara sits on the ledge of the tub, her ass against Judah's arm. She undoes her bun, slides the rubber band over her hand. It's hot, she says, as if to explain. Judah watches the water gather and drop from her nipples. She tries to roll another spliff. Ed and Pebbles drink more tequila. I'm too wet, Sadara says, as if to explain, and stands, gets out of the water and walks over to where her towel is. She bends over with straight legs to dry her hands, holds the fold. Her pinks and furries are a bullseye in Judah's line of vision. He won't take his eyes off her dripping target. The other guys look away. Ed sighs and goes inside. The sliding door reverberates more than it should. Abe is the heaviest girl here. I am the oldest. Sadara remains bent. Abe gets out of the hot tub and goes to the corner of the wooden rail where her towel waits beside her peacock feather earrings. She swaddles herself in the towel and puts the feathers back into her lobes, strokes them like to milk them of their pretty, then grips them like a fetish. Sadara is still bent. She's still drying her hands, absorbed. Judah's still watching, absorbed. She lingers still longer before rising. Lingers again before wrapping the towel, holding it open for a minute to frame her yoga sinew, then pulling it from side to side like the veils she belly dances with, drying her arched back. Zeus looks to the sky. My goodness, I am a raisin, I say, and sound like a schoolmarm, clenched. Can you pass me a towel? Ready, babe? Abe asks Pebbles. He is. She tightens his poultice and drives him home. Pebbles leaves a small piece of dreadlock in his wake. I watch it drop like a follicular refugee and land under a chair. Oh, don't go. Stay. Come on, stay, Sadara says. I was just going in to get my tobacco. We need to get going, too. I had that 9-hour drive today. You coming? I asked Judah. I'm just going to hang out here for a couple more minutes. This is because his cock is rock hard. I pretend not to notice. I want my underwear. My skirt is up as we pass through Judah's French front doors. I'm so happy you're here for real, he says, and shuts his eyes tight as he bends me over the dining room table. Now we're on the floor, the wood flat and hard on my back, the wood flat and hard inside me. I take a deep breath and stop moving and watch him fuck me for about 30 seconds, head thrown back, knuckles simian beside my ears. He doesn't even notice I'm just lying there, and it's a bad idea, but I say it anyway. Are you fucking Sadara in your head? He comes immediately. That wasn't fair, he says as he rolls off. True, I say. Is there a paper towel? Welcome. Installment at the Women's Writers Salon on May 15th at Sierra Mountain Coffee Roasters in the afternoon. It's a Saturday afternoon at 3. And also, if you want to friend me on Facebook for updates about the book, or follow my dog at Mr. Vito on Twitter, that would also be another way to keep in touch. Thank you.
Now that was a good evening, yes? Heather Donahue, Bob Stanley.
Toward the end of the first millennium BC, a complex society sprang to life in Mesoamerica. Imaginative, literate, philosophically inclined, and sophisticated. This ever-evolving culture carved cities out of the primordial forest and sunk its roots into the soil. Today we know the region by its countries: Mexico, Honduras, El Salvador, Belize, and Guatemala. What long ago, it was the world of the Maya. Not an empire, nor a country, the classic Maya culture flourished from the 3rd to the 9th century in a far-flung collection of city-states. At Palenque, Tonina, Bonampak, and other cities, dynastic kings ruled absolutely, controlling trade and tribute. They presided over intricate hierarchies of nobles and officials at courts resplendent with works of art. Maya culture, shrouded in a mystery as dense as the forests in which it took root, revealed itself fitfully over 3 centuries.
When the ruins in the jungle were first discovered, there was no way of understanding how the civilization was organized. So it's really through the inscriptions that we've been able to identify kings, to find out their capitals, their seats of power. And through this, we recognize now that there were many kingdoms. There was no unified Maya state. There wasn't even just a few states. There were many, many states.
The first inroads into understanding the Maya were made by Spanish missionaries in the 16th and 17th centuries, who followed in the imperial wake of Hernán Cortés. Their discoveries included the ruins at Copan. But interest in the lost civilization began to accelerate in the 18th century. When Father Antonio de Solis traveled to Palenque and other Maya sites, his accounts of the ruins of the once great civilization caught the attention of the King of Spain. Wave after wave of Spanish explorers came to Mexico, sending reports and sketches back to Madrid. The grandeur of what remained at Palenque convinced one of the king's emissaries, Antonio del Rio, that what he saw was the result of contact with the ancient Romans. Del Rio's reports were published in 1822 with illustrations by Jean-Frédéric Waldeck, who also documented the ancient Maya ruins at Palenque. He made watercolor drawings of the architecture, landscape, and sculpted reliefs. In trying to make sense of the puzzling details, Waldeck often made nonsense of them, in one instance inserting elephants into a hieroglyphic panel. In the late 1830s, another pair of travelers began to wrestle with the riddle of the ancient Maya. The Englishman Frederick Catherwood through his drawings, and the American John Stevens through his writings captured the attention of the general public in the 1840s with their studies of ancient Mexico and Central America.
We lived in the ruined palace of their kings. We went up to their desolate temples and fallen altars, and wherever we moved we saw the evidences of their taste, their skill in the arts, their wealth and power. In the midst of desolation and ruin, we looked back to the past